Thank you for joining us. We are putting together the shoulders of a sweater right now, and these are bound off edges. You can see that this is the knit side. This is the public side. This is the right side. And I'm going to be putting it together looking at the right sides. In sewing, you always do it backwards. Or this is backwards from sewing, I should say. We're not the ones that should be pointing toward anybody. But so what I'm doing is I'm taking the thread that's left over after I bound off, and you'll see my bind off is not real tight. I don't want a tight bind off in my shoulder. So I'm leaving it very loose. And I left a tail. You can see the tail. And I take a tapestry needle, and you can use, this is one of the looped ones. They call them, I think, wool needles. You can use just a regular tapestry needle with a bit tip, or you can use one with a straight tip, or the bamboo ones. It doesn't matter, whichever one's your favorite. There's also a plastic one. That one is not my favorite, but whatever floats your boat is fine. So what you're going to do is you're going to start at the outside edge with the yarn coming out of your the top of your sweater. You're going to go to the opposite side, and you'll see that a knit stitch is made with a V shape. We're going to get that V shape pointing toward the bind off. And then we're going to go to the opposite side, and we'll start getting the V shape pointing toward the bind off. You want to get the very last one before the bind off. So now I have started this, and you can leave it a little bit loose and fix it as you go, but you'll go in the same hole you came out of last time. There's the hole. So you go back in there, and you get the next V pointing up toward the bind off. And if you'll see, it makes another V. All right. This is where we came out of. So we want to go back in here. Well, I'm splitting my stitch there. And there. There's the V pointing down toward the bind off. All right. This is where we came out of, right here. Go back in that same hole and get the V pointing up. Here's where we came out of. Point the V, pointing down toward the bind off. There's the next. That's where we came out of. So you go in that same hole and get the next V pointing up. Now, after a few stitches, you want to kind of maneuver it and give it a little tug. Not a real tight tug, but a little bit of a tug, so that you can get this even. You know, always, if you've not split the stitches, you can always kind of manhandle it and make sure that it's not too tight or not too loose. All right, that's where we came out of. Go in that same hole and come out. You've done your next V. This is where we came out of. Go in the same hole, come up with the next V. That's where we came out of. Go in, get the next V. Go in, come out. So you should be able to see that it's making a straight line of V's. There's the line all the way down. And it should not have a very big edge on the inside. It should be a very, very small edge. This also gives your garment some stability at the shoulder where you need it the most. It'll tend to stay on your shoulder better. I know a lot of people like to do 3-needle bind-offs. They don't look as nice and they don't give you as much stability. So I'm kind of a stickler for actually putting a seam here. And what you would do is you would go all the way across. Now this one's a lot bigger than a typical just shoulder because this is an add-on sleeve. If you see down here, it's an add-on sleeve. So I've got part of a sleeve and the shoulder. But for putting the sweater together on the shoulders, you start on the outside, go toward the neck, and then you turn it over and do the other side and go outside to inside again. Join us again when we pick up stitches and put the sweater together on a vertical edge where you don't have points, where you have the sides of the stitches. But this is putting it together on a horizontal edge. Do you see how it just lines up? Thanks for joining us. Knit happens.